Namaste friends, I am Gurti Vishweswara Rao and this is an audio on my book Bhagavad Gita, A Commoner's Viewpoint, which I wrote recently and got it printed by National Press Chennai. It is also available on Amazon and Flipkart. Om Vighneswaya Namaha. This particular audio corresponds to the introductory chapter in the book. In the beginning, I invoke the God Almighty through this sloka. Sloka means verse. This sloka is from Rigveda. Om Bhudbhava Swaha Tasavithuvarenyam Pargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Meaning, I request the God Almighty, who kindles all the human beings in this universe, to illuminate my intellect also, so that I have the right guidance, inspiration, support and strength in the sacred task of explaining his message contained in Bhagavad Gita, and also the required sanctity and clarity in explaining my viewpoint. Bhagavad Gita contains 18 chapters, and this book audio also contains similar number of audios plus an extra one towards the introductory part of the book, and I expect to take 15 to 20 minutes for each audio. At this point, I want to make one observation. People generally say one needs to complete a presentation within a short time so that listener's attention will not be lost. And the second point, a presenter should come to the core of the subject within the first few minutes of the presentation so as to captivate the listener's attention. Yes, that will be true. For the first point, of course, I'll try to comply with that. For the second one, I feel it will be inappropriate or irrelevant. Because, as you all know, in Bhagavad Gita, each chapter, and for that matter, each sloka in each chapter is a core and contains a principal message from the Creator of this world. So, with this perception and an open mind, let us go forward. Moreover, I am a commoner in a perfect sense, meaning I led a normal life of a householder all through the last 7 decades. I may have a qualification, of course, with a doctorate in engineering, but the fact is, I am not even familiar with Sanskrit language, in which Bhagavad Gita is written by sage Vyasa. But with faith and devotion towards the God Almighty, developed all through my young age and professional career, fortunately, I tried to pen my thoughts on Bhagavan's message as viewed from a commoner in the book. The same thoughts I wish to share with you in these videos. While I hail from Andhra region with Telugu as my mother tongue, I wrote the book in English, and I wrote it in simple and lucid manner so that even youngsters also can follow and understand. In the present times, youngsters should know about the preachings contained in this Song of God. So when I claimed to have written a book on Bhagavad Gita, I got a doubt in my mind, who am I to claim that I have written a book on a Gita? Because the principal message in Gita itself for anyone is to shed his egoistic qualities, the personal qualities. That is, I own this, I own that, this is mine, that is that. So these are mere attributes or labels, what you call, attached to us in this Indian life, even without our personal intervention also. The ancient sages, rishis of ancient times, they also had the same questions. Where do we live? Whence we are born? And whose orders are we here on this earth? Where is our final rest? Who command the law of happiness and misery? This we find in Svatastara Upanishad. Being very knowledgeable people themselves, they found the answers to their worship and devotion. Of course, for us also, we can find the answers in Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God. If there is anyone, this type of urge, anyone to know about himself or himself, is nothing but a self-inquiry. Ram Maharshi always insisted on this type of self-inquiry. He advocated everyone to know thyself, that is, to know yourself first, as a first step to self-realization. This is something like a self-introspection about who am I. This we find in this reference, Ram Maharshi's life, a biography, like Gabriel Ebert. When we go into a philosophical mood, And during this self-inquiry, you and I and everybody may have a lot of questions crowding in our minds. Like, what is death? Why all these differences in this world? Is there a God? And how to know Him? Who arranged this universe as it appears? Sometimes we may be knowing, we will be answering questions from children about these things. I don't know whether we are convinced or not, but definitely we are not convinced. Yes? Right? So, suppose, let us ask, what is death? And if you remember this poem, familiar poem by James Shirley, Death the Leveler, the meaning is very obvious. Suppose if you read this, there is no armor against fate. Death lays his icy hand on kings, scepter and crown, must tumble down. And in the dust be equal made with the poor, crooked, Scythian spade. For last stanza is, only the actions of the just smell sweet and blossom in the dust. This poem is very self-explanatory, very nicely written. The word fate in the above poem, we call it generally as prarabdha karma in Sanskrit. It means that one derives by birth the result from the actions in the earlier birth. So, can we say death is the culmination of all gains and pains of this mortal life? And will it be an opening to yet another appearance or birth to possibly continue to remain devoted to Him? The first part we can understand, but for the second one, it definitely depends upon the way of life in the present birth. For this, we must listen to Bhagavan Sri Krishna and to what he educated in Bhagavad Gita. Sri Krishna was not only a guru or teacher to Arjuna Mahabharata times, but also remained as a Vishwaguru for all times, having enlightened mankind with his supreme advice. Here we see an encouraging quote from Vladimir Nabokov, a Russian-American writer. Life is a great sunrise. I don't see why death should not be an even greater one, very illuminating one. For unknown reference, I taken this quote. It's very beautiful portrayal of the scene of death. You can also see this. The light can deceive the initial man and woman pair on this earth and surprise them with emergence of a beautiful night with a bright moonlight after their first encounter with the sunset. Likewise, why not this life, after all, takes us to another possible purposeful life in the next birth, after our first and the only encounter with death. Very nice. Now see, here, the word purposeful life. What is that purposeful life? The purposeful life in next birth depends upon the purposeful life in this life itself, in present birth. So, Bhagavad Gita contains the answers for this purposeful life. How to prepare for this final event, which is imminent to happen for everybody in his life. Definitely not just by waiting for it to come, but by going about all what is required to be done in this mortal life. That is, leading a purposeful life. For this, one shall have an open mind to receive the correct message, and Bhagavad Gita is the reservoir of such divine messages. When we come to the question of what is meant by purposeful life, of course, definitely is not a life of a parasite, not an aimless life. But is it a life meant for earning riches, or to be contented with what is available, or achieving excellence in the field of interest, or a life of servitude and sacrifice? Of course, Bhagavad Gita illuminates us about a purposeful life. Similarly, for the seemingly simple question, is there a God, how to know Him, and why all the differences among us, can we offer some sort of argument? For this, let us have a look at us and make some observations. During this process, we generally use the word godly or God when something is unimaginable, or more particularly when something is unfathomable. Right? Let us go ahead. With a physical eye and a probing mind, if we see all around us, we see many things which are seemingly simple all through, now baffle us. How a cow giving milk in pure white color by just eating grass? Why flowers have such beautiful colors, wonderfully different? Who arranged this beautiful nature with innumerable kinds of species? How this universe is formed with such an impeccable planetary arrangement, perfect arrangement, with appearance of sun and moon every day and occurrence of seasons. Further, the varieties of food we push into our stomachs, crimson reddish blood is formed. How? How we are growing? Just because we are eating and sleeping? Who designed this human being, this body, with such digestion, respiratory and nervous? For that matter, who has created the bodies of all living beings like that now. So symmetric, so ingenious, really. And we find many differences among ourselves. One is more powerful than the other, mentally or physically. How one is apparently more intelligent than the other. All these things, because of our too much familiarity with them, they never surprised us. All these phenomena, observation, we are not able to provide convincing answers for them. So they must be godly, because they are unfathomable. We are not able to understand them. Here one thing I want to say. Anybody who projects something new before us, we give him a lot of honors, but we are not able to recognize the things around us. I don't know how many wonders are there in the world. Now whether 9th wonder going on or 10th wonder going on. But one thing we should know, the truth is that we are the both animate, inanimate objects in this world are the wonderest of wonders. That is what Bhagavad tells. God says that we are all godly incarnations, maybe on a mini scale or micro scale. That is the truth the Song of God provides. Generally know that one has no control on the outcome of her or his actions. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, he reiterates and repeatedly stresses this fact many a time like a real teacher. If one has control, and if it were true, one would have become a Vivekananda or Buddha, a richest person just by an intellect. Then world would have become difference-free. But it is not to be. Power, intelligence, any sparkling spurti, that is vitality in a being, are his injections only. So Bhagavad Gita is a treasure trove containing such divine truths. The invisible creator of this universe, whom we call the three-letter word God, is everywhere. If one is aware of this profound knowledge, it does not matter whether he stays in the forest agnostic or lives as a householder. This is the perception that I strive hard to bring out in this book, Bhagavad Gita, my calmness viewpoint. I happened to go through some of the numerous writings, treatises on Bhagavad Gita before and during writing of the book. First, I need to mention about Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Friends, you all agree with me if I say we were all honored, or more than that, we were all blessed by his presence on this earth during a recent past, even though for a short period of around 30 years. I felt greatly enlightened by some of his works. I had gone through his commentary on Bhagavad Gita and some of the commentaries on Upanishads. And same is the case with Gita Bhashyam, written by Ramanujacharya, and Narayaniyam, written by our recent 16th century poet Narayana Bhattatari. Adi Shankaracharya's works, Vivek Chudamani, Atmabodha, were also helpful to me, and their immortal works. And other illuminating works, Manisha Panchakam, Sadhana Panchakam, Sivananda Lahari, Saundarya Lahari, were also very helpful to me in putting forth my viewpoints in my book in a proper perspective. I give greatest credit also to the works of Sri Ramana Maharshi, Sri Aurobindo, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa. Their works also were very educative and instructive. These personalities are like rishis of ancient past. They are Janyoris of our times. Works by eminent persons like whom we know very well, Vivekananda, Mahatma Gandhi, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Vinoba Bhave, Annie Besant, Sri Rajgopalachari, Sri S. Sarvepalli Radhakrishna. Their works and their commentaries on Gita are very informative for me. At this juncture, I immensely feel happy to remember all these great personalities with utmost reverence and humility. Special mention I had to make about the illuminating lectures I had from Professor Vishwanath Sharma of TTD Tirupati in the recent past. Of course, the book Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sattva Vivekani of Gita Press, Gorakhpur was like my philosopher and guide throughout my writing of that book. Here, I describe the organization of the narration in my book. In this book, I attempted to give a brief account of a meaning translation in English of Bhagavan's message of each chapter first, and does not contain meaning of each sloka. I only provided an overall meaning of the message contained in that chapter. Of course, not as a scholarly person, but limited to my power of thinking. This is immediately followed by my own interpretation as a commoner of his message in the specific chapter, again in brief. The narration in the book includes a Vishesh Sukti, meaning a keyword or thought which I provided before each chapter. It is a connected thought from Upanishads or literary works of eminent personalities, and is very much connected with that message given by Bhagavan in that particular chapter. Many Sanskrit words are used in the book in order to retain some originality and for sake of preciseness also. I provide the meanings of these Sanskrit words as footnotes, specifically when they appear for the first time. I also listed the best way to read the book. Those who have only short time to spend, they can go through only the introduction, of course, and the first part and last part, along with the others, that is my interpretation as a commoner on each chapter. Of course, those having an extra leisure to spend, they can as well go through the Vishesha Sukti, that is special word I provided before start of each chapter. Of course, along with the above, if one reads the summary of the actual meaning of his message contained in the verse of each chapter, it completes the reading of full volume. The book itself very short and it contains only 150 pages. I dedicated my book to my beloved parents, late Sri Guttu Suranarana and Manikyamba. Before I leave, my friends, and join you again for the audio for chapter 1 of my book, I wish to pay here salutations to the God Almighty by reciting a sloka from Devi Manas Puja, a unique composition in Sanskrit by Adi Shankaracharya. Manas Puja means worshipping the Almighty in the mind. Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita has made a worthy reference to Manas Puja. In Devi Manas Puja, a devotee assumes the god in the form of a goddess and imagines performing sevas or pujas or services to the goddess, starting from waking her up early in the morning from her sleep with all singing in her praise and imploring her to cast her benevolent looks on the whole universe. This is best described by Adi Shankara in the first sloka of Devi Manas Puja. It reads, Ushasi Magadha Mangala Gayanaihi Jhaditi Jagruhi 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 Ati Krupradra Kataksha Nirishanaihi Jagadidam Jagadamba Sukhi Kuru. I remember in my young age, my father singing these slokas in his melodious voice with the right tune. In a Manas Puja, it is beyond words to express for anyone in words the depth of devotion a devotee is feeling towards his beloved God. It is indeed an ultimate feeling of transcendental meditation by a devotee, you can say. With these words, I remain. Thank you.